It's believed that Ernest Hepburn, a 63-year-old, was killed for his gold chain 2 days ago. Now, the incident has, in addition to adding to the murder count, placed the gold-buying business under the microscope again. Now, the National Security Minister and Police Commissioner are taking a closer look at such operations. Our Janaea Noel Ferguson has more.
There's been public outrage against cash for gold entities like this one after the country saw an alarming spike in armed robberies. Police Commissioner Ellison Greenslade says they do have an action plan in place to stomp out this type of crime.
Effective today, we are going to be doing some work and certainly bringing closer scrutiny to the operations of those establishments in a very professional way. And certainly we'll be doing all we can to discourage people from committing acts like that.
I know that it is ridiculous to be in a situation where you can't wear a piece of jewelry because it may cost you your life.
The incident that occurred yesterday where a man lost his life as a result of someone accosting him and attempting and certainly taking his jewelry from him is something that we have no tolerance for. I mean, that's just a dastardly act that shouldn't be encouraged by anyone.
While many may argue that the onus is on the cash for gold entities that have popped up creating a market for stolen gold, Greenslade says jewelry theft is not a new phenomenon.
If one didn't have a cash for gold outlet, but was hell-bent on committing crime, that person would still snatch your jewelry and pawn it to someone else who's willing to pay a lower price. That's the real point that I'm making. There is a market for the stolen property in the Bahamas, not in a foreign country, right here in the Bahamas. And there are people who are well aware that the prices that they're paying are far too low. Further, the person you're purchasing from is not an authorized jeweler, nor a business establishment. Why would you be purchasing jewelry from such a person?
Now, the Pawnbrokers and Second-Hand Dealers Act was passed and went into effect in November of last year. It requires owners and dealers to verify the identity of customers and to maintain records of all transactions. The National Security Minister says we have to ensure that the law is enforced. He sent this stern warning.
To all criminals, cease and desist. One thing is for sure, we will find out who they are, whether it's violent crimes like murder, whether it's the burglaries, whether it's housebreaking, whether it's stealing licensed disc golf cars, we will find them eventually, and they will be brought to justice.
Janaea Noel Ferguson, ZNS News.
Now, cash for gold dealers have been taking lots of flack for the businesses that they run. Well, tonight they're responding to criticism that they're fueling those chain snatchings. Here's Cyan Thompson.
It started out as a lucrative business that spread like wildfire, but after police raids of several establishments, in particular the Cash for Gold brand in the Key West Street and Robinson Road areas, some of the owners went out of business. However, the precious metal dealers we spoke to say that they have legitimate businesses. Manager at Cashwiz says that since a few arrests, they now have stringent procedures from fingerprinting to security cameras.
Basically, I mean, crime is always going to be a problem, regardless whether these businesses are around. What's been happening recently is, with the new Pawn Act that's just recently been passed, with every item that we buy, particularly gold and jewelry, we now need to hold them for 2 weeks, which gives the police a longer period of time to be able to come in and inspect these jewelries that we would have bought before we were able to ship them out of the country. So with us, we take fingerprints, we need a valid ID, and we take a photo shot of these guys with every purchase, and they have to sign a waiver to state that this jewelry is theirs. It's not their friend owned or their cousin owned.
In the past, where suspicious persons presented jewelry, management at Cashwood says that police held them for questioning, which then led to the arrest of several suspects.
I mean, sometimes you automatically, you don't expect a guy who has, shoes that are barely held together coming in with a $5,000 necklace. You will automatically know I have some idea that this item really don't belong to this person. But
meantime, over at United Gold and Silver, they say that they're socially responsible and that if you don't own it, they don't want it.
They have to have a valid form of government ID, be a passport, voter's card, driver's license, or something issued like a BEC ID, Atlantis identification, that we can have a valid photo ID that we have a tie back to them. We also collect additional information from them. We reserve the right to refuse any transaction, and in addition, we let them know right up front that we have tiebacks in the event that anything is reported stolen, that we have the ability to let the police have this evidence, and they can come after them and prosecute them.
The perception is that only lower income and some middle-class members of the Bahamian community do business with precious metal dealers. Chris Lowe of United Gold and Silver dismisses that.
Yeah, we like to maintain a very good reputation, because another part of our business would be private client services side. It's not just the poor that's affected by this global recession, but the middle class has been hit very, very much so, as well as some of the upper class. And some of my clients actually might not feel comfortable coming into institution or a building as a gold buying place, but they've contacted me and wanted to set up a private appointment. Obviously, it's going to have to be somebody that we feel kind of a mutual trust.
While more regulation is needed for this industry, police are closely monitoring those who operate within this business. Cyan Thompson, ZNS News.
Well, parliamentarians filed past the coffin today of late former senator, musician, and labor leader, Mr. Leroy Duke Hanna. Hanna passed away in his sleep 2 weeks ago. He was 78. Mr. Hanna was the first president of the National Congress of Trade Unions. He was also a founding member and vice president of the Trade Union Congress. He's also credited with signing a memorandum of understanding between the TUC and the PLP, and for lobbying on behalf of workers to join a trade union of their choice. Hanna is survived by his wife Joan and daughter Margot. His funeral is set for tomorrow.